In the rush of our daily lives, it's easy to overlook the women who quietly transform our world. Picture walking through life with a companion whose presence feels like a steady hand on your shoulder, guiding you through storms with grace and strength. These women, with their fierce loyalty, boundless compassion, and unshakable resilience, turn the mundane into moments of magic. Their qualities echo the timeless wisdom of philosophy, from the Stoic calm of Marcus Aurelius to the bold self-overcoming of Nietzsche's Be Our Mensch, urging us to hold tight to relationships that lift us higher. These are the women who embody freedom, who break chains forged by society, and who inspire us to rise above. They are not just comforts, they are catalysts for our own empowerment, especially for women in the next generation seeking their place in the world. Imagine a young mother in 1960s Alabama, her hands calloused from factory work, sitting at a kitchen table with her daughter. Society tells her she's just a worker, a wife, a shadow in a man's world. Yet at night, she reads aloud from borrowed library books, her voice weaving tales of resilience and possibility. She's no philosopher by title, but her patience and understanding plant seeds of ambition in her child, who grows up to become a teacher, breaking the cycle of poverty for her family. This is the power of a woman who listens with her heart, who stands firm in chaos, who turns oppression into opportunity. Today we'll explore the 10 qualities that make such women worth cherishing, traits that empower not just themselves, but everyone around them, especially other women and children yearning for freedom. Communication that builds bridges. What if the words you spoke could heal a wound or spark a revolution in someone's soul? Exceptional communication is the lifeblood of connection, a gift women have wielded through history to defy silence. Think of Sojourner Truth, standing tall in 1851 at the Women's Convention in Akron, Ohio. Her voice, raw and polished, demanded, "Ain't I a woman?" She didn't just speak, she listened to the unspoken pain of enslaved women, weaving their struggles into a call for justice that still echoes today. This is communication beyond words. It's a heart-to-heart exchange that builds trust and understanding. Women who master this art don't just hear, they feel the weight behind your words. In a Chicago classroom, a teacher notices a shy girl clutching a tattered notebook. Instead of dismissing her silence, she kneels down, listens, and discovers a poem about feeling invisible. That moment of active listening turns the girl into a writer, her voice blooming where it once hid. These women reflect the Stoic wisdom of Epictetus, who said we have 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen twice as much as we speak. They respond with clarity, not cloaked in vague promises, but with honest words that foster transparency. Their emotional intelligence catches the flicker of a frown or the tremble in a voice, responding with care that strengthens bonds. This isn't just about solving problems, it's about sharing life's tapestry. In a small Texas town, a grandmother sits with her granddaughter, laughing over stories of picking cotton and dreaming of stars. Their conversations weave memories that tie generations together, proving communication is a bridge across time. For women, this skill has often been a weapon against societal norms that demand their silence, a way to claim agency and empower others to speak. It's the foundation of relationships that endure, a thread of connection that refuses to snap under pressure. Across centuries, women have used words to break free. In Victorian England, a governess whispers encouragement to a pupil stifled by rigid expectations, her gentle questions unlocking a mind destined for greatness. In modern-day Mumbai, a street vendor chats with a young girl selling flowers, her stories of survival igniting dreams beyond the pavement. Communication in their hands becomes a tool of liberation, a way to connect souls across divides of class, race, and time. These women don't just talk, they transform, building bridges where walls once stood, empowering others to find their voice in a world that often tries to mute it. reliability that anchors souls. Reliability is the rock beneath a woman's strength, a promise kept when the world wavers. Picture a single mother in 1980s New York, juggling two jobs while raising 3 kids. Her children know that no matter how late her shift runs, she'll be there with a warm meal and a steady gaze that says, "I've got you." This isn't perfection, it's presence. It's the certainty that builds trust, a cornerstone Marcus Aurelius honored when he wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." In history, women like Harriet Tubman embodied this. She didn't just escape slavery, she returned 19 times, risking her life to guide others to freedom. Her word was her bond, a lighthouse for those lost in darkness. Today, that reliability lives in the friend who drops everything to sit with you after a breakup, or the sister who keeps every promise, from small favors to life-altering support. These women create safe harbors where vulnerability can bloom, where you're free to be yourself without fear of abandonment. This trust isn't blind, it's earned through accountability. In a rural Indian village, a woman leads a cooperative, ensuring every member gets their share of profits. When mistakes happen, she owns them, fostering a transparency that empowers her community. This emotional reliability, being there not just in body but in spirit, mirrors the Stoic virtue of integrity. It's the colleague who listens when you're overwhelmed, offering not just advice but a presence that steadies you. For women, in a South African township, a grandmother raises her orphaned grandchildren, her unwavering routine a shield against chaos. In a bustling Tokyo office, a manager stays late to mentor a struggling intern, her dependability a lifeline to success. These women don't falter when storms hit, they stand taller, their reliability a gift that anchors lives. They embody Nietzsche's will to power, not domination, but the power to hold steady, to empower others through their unshakable presence, turning trust into a legacy that lasts. Compassion that heals wounds. Compassion is the heartbeat of a woman's power, a force that binds us in our shared humanity. Imagine a nurse in a war-torn hospital, her hands trembling as she comforts a child who's lost everything. She doesn't just see pain, she feels it, offering a touch that says, "You're not alone." This is the empathy Marcus Aurelius celebrated when he urged us to think of the privilege of being alive, to love despite chaos. It's a quality women have honed through centuries of nurturing, often in the shadows of history. Take Clara Barton, who founded the American Red Cross. Amid Civil War battlefields, she didn't just bandage wounds, she sat with soldiers, listening to their fears, her kindness a balm for their spirits. Today, that compassion shines in the mother who senses her daughter's unspoken anxiety, sitting silently until the girl opens up. These women don't offer empty words. Their empathy drives action, cooking a meal for a grieving friend, holding space for tears. This patience, rooted in respect for our shared struggles, aligns with the Stoic idea of oikoiosis, extending affection to all. In a Philadelphia shelter, a volunteer spends hours with a runaway teen, seeing past her defiance to the hurt beneath. That understanding diffuses tension, building a bridge where walls once stood. Compassion ripples outward, inspiring others to act with kindness, a contagion of warmth that lifts communities. For women, this has been a true love resilience, turning personal pain into collective healing, empowering themselves and others to rise above suffering with grace. In a Guatemalan village, a midwife cradles a young mother through labor, her gentle words easing fear. In a London suburb, a neighbor checks on an elderly widow daily, her care a lifeline in loneliness. These acts aren't grand gestures, they're quiet revolutions, proof that compassion can mend what society breaks. Women wielding this quality don't just heal, they teach us to feel, to connect, to grow stronger together. Their empathy, a thread that stitches broken lives into wholeness. Humor that lights the dark. Humor and positivity are the sunshine women bring to life's grayest days. Picture a factory worker in 1930s Detroit, cracking jokes with her co-workers during a grueling shift. Her laughter doesn't erase the exhaustion, but it makes it bearable, a spark that turns drudgery into camaraderie. Marcus Aurelius urged us to dwell on life's beauty. And these women do just that, finding joy in the smallest moments, a shared giggle, a playful quip. In history, women like Maya Angelou wielded humor as defiance. Amid racism and trauma, she wrote with wit that lifted spirits, showing how laughter can be resilience. Today, it's the friend who teases you out of a funk, or the aunt whose optimism sees silver linings in every storm. These women don't deny hardship, they reframe it, offering a perspective that lightens the load. Laughter, science tells us, reduces stress, boosts immunity, a gift that heals body and soul. In a Kansas diner, a waitress banteresses with regulars, her positivity a daily dose of hope for a struggling town. This resilience, echoing Seneca's belief that difficulties strengthen the mind, inspires others to persevere. For women, humor has often been a quiet rebellion against despair, a way to claim joy in a world that tries to steal it. They make tough times softer, good times brighter, their light a beacon we can't let fade. In a refugee camp, a woman mimics the gods' stern faces, her giggles lifting children's spirits. In a New Orleans jazz club, a singer weaves humor into heartbreak, her voice a salve for weary souls. These women don't just entertain, they uplift, their positivity a shield against gloom, empowering us to find light even in shadows, proving joy is a strength worth holding. Patience that nurtures growth. Patience is the gentle rain that helps relationships bloom, a quality women have mastered through adversity. Imagine a teacher in 1950s Mississippi guiding a classroom of kids society deemed unworthy of education. She doesn't snap at their stumbles, she waits, knowing growth takes time. Epictetus said it's not events, but our judgments that disturb us, and these women embody that calm, offering space for others to flourish. Consider Rosa Parks, whose quiet patience sparked a movement. She didn't shout, she sat, her steady resolve shifting history. Today, it's the partner who listens through your rants, or the mentor who guides without pushing. This understanding sees past flaws, embracing imperfections with love, a stoic acceptance of what fate binds us to. In a refugee camp, a mother teaches her son to read, word by word, her patience a lifeline to his future. This quality shines in conflict, turning arguments into growth. In a Seattle home, a wife pauses mid-fight, seeking her husband's view, her calm steering them to peace. For women, patience has been a shield against a world quick to judge, a strength that empowers others to find their own pace, proving love endures beyond perfection. In a Ukrainian village, a grandmother tends a garden with her granddaughter, her slow hands teaching resilience through seasons. In a bustling Cairo market, a vendor waits out a child's tantrum, her steady smile a lesson in grace. These women don't rush, they nurture. Their patience a gift that grows dreams, empowering lives with quiet, enduring strength. Ambition that ignites dreams. Ambition is the fire in a woman's soul, driving her to rise and lift others with her. Picture a young entrepreneur in 1970s Lagos, sketching business plans by candlelight. She doesn't just dream, she acts, her goals a beacon for her daughters. Marcus Aurelius saw obstacles as fuel for action, and these women turn barriers into stepping stones, their will echoing Nietzsche's call to self-overcoming. Think of Oprah Winfrey, born into poverty, her ambitional ladder out of despair. She didn't stop at her own success. She built schools, empowered millions. Today, it's the colleague who pushes you to chase your goals, or the friend who plans a future with you. In a Brazilian favela, a woman saves pennies to start a bakery, her drive inspiring her community to dream bigger. This resilience, rooted in Stoic purpose, brings structure and excitement to relationships. In a Silicon Valley startup, a coder works late, her vision inspiring her team to innovate. In a rural Chinese school, a teacher studies nights to better her students' lives, her ambition a spark for change. For women, this has been a defiance of limits, a claim to agency in a world that denies it. They set goals, personal, shared, and pursue them with discipline. Their energy a force that empowers all who stand beside them, keeping love alive with purpose. Open-mindedness that frees minds. Open-mindedness is the wing that lets women soar, embracing change with curiosity. Imagine a scientist in 1940s London, challenging male peers with bold ideas. She listens, adapts, her flexibility a strength. Marcus Aurelius tied to wisdom, knowing our limits opens us to growth. These women don't cling to dogma, they explore, creating space for others to breathe. Marie Curie lived this, her openness to new theories breaking scientific ground. Today, it's the friend who tries your quirky hobbies, or the mother who learns from her kids. In a Thai village, a woman adopts modern farming, her curiosity feeding her family and inspiring neighbors. This non-judgmental spirit builds trust, a stoic harmony that welcomes differences. In a Parisian CIF, a writer debates with strangers, her openness weaving new stories. In a Ghanaian market, a trader swaps ideas with travelers, her flexibility thriving amid change. For women, this has been a rebellion against rigid roles, a path to freedom through understanding, empowering relationships to evolve with grace and vitality. Supportiveness that lifts spirits. Supportiveness is the bedrock women build lives on, a strength that endures. Picture a suffragette in 1910s England, marching beside her sisters, her presence a promise of solidarity. Marcus Aurelius saw us made for cooperation, and these women live it, standing firm through storms. They're the friend who cheers your wins, the partner who holds you in loss. Elizabeth Cady Stanton didn't just fight for her vote, she lifted others with her. Today, it's the co-worker who believes in your potential, or the aunt who comforts without judgment. In a Nairobi slum, a woman teaches girls to sew, her support will add her out of poverty. This encouragement, stoic in its courage, fosters growth and joy. In a Mexican town, a sister helps her sibling flee abuse, her strength a new beginning. In a Canadian library, a tutor spends extra hours with a struggling student, her faith a spark for success. For women, this has been a quiet power, defying a world that isolates them, empowering you to face life with boldness and heart. Gratefulness that brightens days. Gratefulness is the sunlight women cast, turning moments into treasures. Imagine a widow in 1990s Bosnia, thanking her neighbors for scraps amid war. Her appreciation, echoing Marcus Aurelius's morning reflection on life's privilege, fosters joy. These women don't overlook the small, they cherish it, building positivity. Think of Anne Frank, finding hope in a diary despite horror. Today, it's the friend who thanks you for coffee, or the grandmother who sees blessings in chaos. In a Manila shantytown, a woman smiles at her son's laughter, her gratitude a shield against despair. This optimism, stoic in its focus on the present, uplifts soul. In an Irish pub, a bartender thanks every patron, her warmth a haven. In a Peruvian Andes village, a weaver praises her loom's threads, her joy infectious. For women, this has been resilience against loss, empowering relationships with warmth and light. Loyalty that endures all. Loyalty is the cornerstone of a woman's love, unyielding through time. Picture a wife in 1940s America, writing letters to her soldier husband, her educational lifeline. Marcus Aurelius prized integrity, and these women live it, their commitment is Stoic virtue. They're the sister who defends you, the partner who stays through hardship. Coretta Scott King didn't just mourn Martin, she carried his dream forward. Today, it's the friend who keeps your secrets, or the mother who fights for your future. In a Syrian camp, a woman shields her friend from harm, her loyalty a bond beyond words. This persistence, facing obstacles with grace, deepens trust. In a Colombian city, a daughter cares for her aging mother, her devotion unwavering. In a Parisian atelier, a designer backs her team, her loyalty a foundation for art. For women, this has been a defiance of betrayal, empowering connections to withstand any storm, making them the anchors and wings of our lives. These women, the communicators, the reliable, the compassionate, the humorous, the patient, the ambitious, the open-minded, the supportive, the grateful, the loyal, are the philosophers of our everyday. They don't just live, they empower, breaking societal chains with every step. In a world that often dims their light, they shine brighter, lifting women and children toward freedom. Cherish them, for they turn ordinary days into legacies of strength and love. In every corner of the globe, from bustling cities to forgotten villages, these women weave a tapestry of empowerment. Their voices rise above the din, their hands mend what's broken, their spirits defy the weight of history. They are the unsung heroines of resilience, the quiet revolutionaries who teach us that freedom isn't just a dream, it's a choice they make every day. In their presence, we find not just solace but strength, not just companionship but courage. They are the embodiment of philosophy in action, living proof that the human spirit can triumph over any chain society forges. Take a moment to think of the women in your life who carry these qualities. The grandmother who told you stories of survival, her laughter a melody of hope. The friend who stayed up late to hear your fears, her patience a balm for your restless heart. The teacher who saw your potential when you couldn't, her ambition igniting yours. These women don't just pass through our lives, they shape them, molding us into better versions of ourselves with every word, every unwavering stand they take. In ancient Greece, philosophers like Plato dreamed of a world where wisdom ruled, yet they often overlooked the wisdom of the women who kept families and communities alive. Today, we see that wisdom in action, not in marble halls, but in the daily grind of women who refuse to bow. In the 1800s, abolitionist women like Frederick Douglass's wife, Anna Murray, didn't just support a cause, they lived it, their reliability a backbone for freedom fighters. In the 21st century, women like Malala Yousafzai wield education as a sword, their open-mindedness cutting through ignorance to empower a generation. Their communication builds not just bridges but highways, connecting us to our own potential. In a Harlem poetry slam, a young woman's verses about her mother's sacrifices ripple through the crowd, her words a mirror for every daughter present. Their reliability anchors us when we drift, like the lighthouse keeper in Maine who kept her post through blizzards, her steady light guiding ships and her children to safety. Their compassion heals not just wounds but spirits, like the social worker in Los Angeles who sits with foster kids, her empathy a lifeline to trust. Their humor lights paths we thought lost, like the comedian in a Chicago who turns her struggles into punchlines, her positivity a gift to every weary soul in the room. Their patience nurtures dreams we didn't know we had. like the librarian in rural Georgia who waits years for a shy reader to bloom, her calm a soil for growth. Their ambition drives us forward, like the engineer in Bangalore who designs bridges by day and mentors girls by night, her goals a map for others to follow. Their open-mindedness frees us from cages, like the artist in Berlin who blends cultures in her work, her curiosity a key to new worlds. Their supportiveness lifts us higher, like the nurse in Haiti who cheers every patient's small victory, her strength a ladder for recovery. Their grateful news brightens our days, like the farmer in Vietnam who thanks the rain, her optimism a harvest of hope. And their loyalty endures all, like the activist in Chile who stands by her jailed comrades, her dedication a rock against tyranny. These women don't just embody qualities, they live them, breathing life into philosophies that could otherwise remain dusty words on a page. They are the Stoic communist storm, the existential fire in a cold world, the feminist strength in a patriarchy's shadow. They teach us that empowerment isn't a gift bestowed, it's a garden cultivated through daily acts of courage, connection and care. For every woman who has fought for her voice, for every child she's lifted with her, these qualities are the roots of a revolution that spans generations. In a world that often tells women to shrink, they expand. In a society that demands their silence, they sing. In a history that tries to erase them, they write their own chapters. They are the philosophers of the hearth, the warriors of the everyday, the dreamers who make reality richer. Hold them close, for they are the heartbeat of freedom, the pulse of resilience, the soul of a life well lived. Their legacy isn't just in what they do, but in who they inspire us to become, stronger, braver, freer, together.